What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so Cal Raleigh is just one home run away from joining one of the most exclusive fraternities in baseball, the 60 Home Run Club. Cal Raleigh, who, of course, a couple of days ago hit his 58th home run of the season, tonight hit his 59th home run of the season in the first inning of Wednesday night in the second game of the series opener against Colorado. Raleigh turned on a 1-1 fastball from Colorado starter Tanner Gordon and clubbed it an estimated 438 feet into the upper deck in right field at T-Mobile Park. Only 6 players in baseball history have reached the 60-homer plateau in a season, as I said. Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, who did it twice in 1998 and 1999. Sammy Sosa, who did it 3 times, 1998, 1999, and 2001. Aaron Judge, Roger Maris, and Babe Ruth. Raleigh is now just one swing away from joining this elite group, and it was part of a huge first inning for the Mariners, with Julio Rodriguez and Jorge Polanco also hitting homers off Gordon. Raleigh added to his already big night with a 2-run double in the second inning. Teammate Luke Raley, hope I pronounced that correctly. If not, it's Raleigh, but it looked like it's going to be Raley. Luke Raley was the last player to visit the upper deck in right field last season against the Philadelphia Phillies. Raley was the first to do it since Shohei Ohtani's epic blast off Marco Gonzalez during the 2021 season. In total, Raleigh is the 8th player in history to reach that deck of T-Mobile Park since it opened in 1999, joining Raleigh, Ohtani, Daniel Vogelbach, Joey Gallo, Nomar Mazara, Carlos Delgado, also known as Carlos Delgado, and move on. The long ball continues his historic pace coming down the stretch of the regular season as he tries to provide a final exclamation point in the AL MVP race. The so-called the Big Dumper, Raleigh now has 6 home runs in the past 9 games and 9 in the month of December. It also came on a night that Judge homered twice at home for the Yankees. So Judge, I think this is what the 4th time in his career, has eclipsed the 50 homer mark. Raleigh homered twice over the weekend as part of the M's sweep in Houston to claim the single-season franchise record from Ken Griffey Jr. The Mariners honored Raleigh with a framed picture of the graphic that team created when he hit his 57th home run prior to the first pitch on Tuesday night. It also should be noted that this victory puts the Mariners in the postseason. They secure a postseason berth, and it puts them in the hunt for the AL West title. So not just only individual honorifics for Cal Raleigh. This was a team victory. This was a big team victory. And late in the season, it helps to secure them at least a postseason spot and a pretty good chance at securing the AL West title. All right. So, look, this has been a pretty successful year, man, as far as baseball is concerned. And even though, people tend to think of the 90s and 2000s as the offensive era of baseball, we got some really historic things going on right now with these players, man. This guy, Kyle Raleigh, is closing on 60 home runs. There's another guy. I think just today he hit his 55th home run. I can't remember his name. Mike Trout recently hit his 400th career home run. You got Eric Judge doing his thing. You got these other guys out there that are Shohei Ohtani, who is probably the best overall player in the game. It's a really good time right now for the sport of baseball. But I have to say, though, I still think that the combination of the 94 strike, which at the time um, fans really truly were hurt by that because the perception was that, and we didn't have all of the inside information that comes out there today, but the perception was that the players were being greedy. Although when you really look into it, the owners were being greedy too. But the fans tend to want to watch the players. And when they saw these players with these rising, at the time, rising salaries, although those salaries have been way overmatched by what these guys are making today, but the salaries were rising and rising and rising. And then you see players complain about money. So the perception from the fan is like, well, wait a minute. You guys are making all this fucking money as opposed to just 5 years ago, as opposed to just 10 years ago. And you guys are still complaining about money to the point where you stop work. And, people just thought like, okay, these guys are selfish. And, then of course the steroid era happens and baseball has still never quite recovered to the point for where it was before. People got to remember, man, before 1970, baseball was the number one sport in America. It wasn't the NFL, it was baseball. It was baseball. Now it's to the point where this country has become so secular that Monday now belongs to, not Monday, excuse me, but Sunday now belongs to the NFL. You have 20 to 25 million fans who are clamoring to watch the NFL, even though there's evidence that shows the danger that looms from players who play that sport. It's almost akin to what happens to wrestlers, but people are I guess, are willing to look over that or gloss over that because they find it entertaining. There is a beauty in the game of the game of football. It's a brutality, but it's a beautiful brutality. And it's mimicked a little bit with wrestling, even though wrestling is a little bit more choreographed, a little bit more staged, but there's still a beautiful violence in the game. That's why, even though the violence in boxing is still a little bit more, uh, it's more ramped up, there's still a beauty of the sport. Baseball, by comparison, compared to the technology of today, the speed of today, the pace of today, it seems much more antiquated. Uh, but that's why they sped the game up a bit. That's why they've juiced the ball up a bit. Let's be honest, they have. Um, this is not the dead ball era of 1917. And as a consequence, the game, I think baseball's become a lot more appealing. But anyway, that's just my take on it. Tell me what you guys think.